Chattanooga Preparatory School now saying former 6th grade teacher Kenya White is facing a criminal indictment. White is accused of sending inappropriate messages to a student. But how did he get a teaching job there in the first place?
The allegations came in light 2 years ago and sparked several investigations. The charter school was required by law to check Kenya White's background before hiring him. But the question remains, if we could see those red flags in his file, why couldn't a prospective employer? Latricia Thomas has the story.
This state controller report shows that Tennessee got a grade of F in 2016 by USA Today for how it handled teachers going from one school to another in the wake of sexual misconduct allegations.
Every Tennessee parent ought to be able to send their child to a public education and know that their kids are safe.
In the years that followed, Tennessee lawmakers changed the rules to increase the communication between districts, the State Board of Education, and the Department of Ed.
Districts can usually get a better idea of a person's background, character, and disciplinary record if they request the personnel files from their previous employers. We don't know how many districts go through this process, especially when they're in a rush to fill positions before the start of the school year.
In the case of Kenya White, when we reviewed his personnel file with Hamilton County Schools, we saw his suspension in February of 2023 for allegations of engaging in inappropriate electronic communications with a student. But Dr. Zach Brown with Hamilton County says as far as he knows, they did not receive any reference checks on Mr. White before he was hired at Chat Prep. Brown says if a prospective employer reached out, they would disclose that the person was not eligible for rehire, and the employer would have the option of viewing White's file, just like we did. And that's not the only red flag here. The Department of Children's Services says an authorized charter school is required to perform a DCS background check on applicants for teaching positions or any position that requires proximity to children. A spokesperson for DCS says if Chat Prep had done that check with them, they would have been able to tell if a prospective teacher was the subject of an ongoing investigation. This letter shows White was the subject of a DCS investigation beginning in February 2023. This is what White's entry looks like in TN Compass, the online database of teacher licenses that's available to administrators. The State Board of Education says this hand symbol means his status was under review.
And Latricia Thomas is joining us in studio this morning to further discuss these concerns coming from the community. Good morning, Latricia.
Good morning, Dane and Maggie. Yeah, we still have a lot of questions for Chat Prep, including did they check his DCS background? And that, again, as you heard there, is required by a public charter school, not only for someone who is a teacher, but for anyone who has proximity to children. And here's another part of this story that's interesting. White didn't have a current teaching license. He had a teaching permit, which is something that came about during a teaching shortage in COVID. They allowed people to get a temporary teaching permit that lasted a year while they worked toward a more permanent teaching license. His teaching permit, expired in 2023. When we know he showed up at Chat Prep, they won't tell us when they hired him officially, but we know he was there in April of 2024 because they honored him on their Facebook page as a Teacher of the Month. So we're still asking Chat Prep, can we look at his personnel file? They fall under open records laws, just like typical public schools do, because they're a public charter school and they had to be approved by the Hamilton County School Board. But what we also still have questions about is because of how that structure is set up, who has oversight here? Who is making sure that they follow the law?
Right. Obviously, like you said, it is law, but I think parents and community members are raising big red flags saying, it's commonplace that you reach out to a person's prior employer to get details in a reference. Why didn't they do that here? That's a big question.
And it's hard to know because they will won't answer our questions. We asked them the first day about the indictment when it came out, and they responded, ask local authorities. Now, we did get a new statement from them just yesterday after days of repeated questions. What we learned from that statement, they are conducting an internal review. We don't know the depth of that, and they did tell us that he's no longer an employee there, but we don't know what else they're looking at within their internal practices to know if those DCS checks were done and if they were done on all the employees that are currently working at Chat Prep.
That's a great point, Latricia, to have these checks been done on all of those employees. As far as the questions that we've been asking, I mean, I've seen the questions go out in email numerous times. Like you said, again, that response yesterday saying that they are going to do that internal review now. I guess really what comes next as far as those questions? Are we going to keep on asking those questions to Chattanooga Prep and expect an answer?
Well, of course, Maggie, we're going to keep asking, and we're going to hold them to the law that says they are under public records law, open meetings law, again, because they're a public charter school. Hamilton County School Board had to authorize the charter for Chat Prep back when they came into existence in 2018. The question remains, though, who gives oversight of them after that? The school board chairman told me yesterday on the phone, besides academic performance, they don't have a lot of involvement in the day-to-day governance. They have a private governing board, so we'll take our questions to that level. But whether they give us an answer, we'll have to keep holding them accountable to that.
We're also still really curious. I mean, it took 2 years for White to be indicted on those charges. Again, the initial investigation stemming back to, or questions from February of 2023 while he was still working at Eastlake Academy. That stretch of time really stands out as something that you may not see very often.
Well, and we asked Chattanooga Police that because that stood out to us as well. They said when a child is involved like this, several different agencies come together to support that process. They also said that they had to do some downloading of digital forensic files. But we have seen cases where digital downloads have been involved and it hasn't taken 2 years. So that's something that we're hoping comes out in court because they don't fall under those open records laws of having to answer those questions. A lot of those protected by current investigations by police. But when they go to open court and they talk about some of these issues, we'll make sure to bring them back to you because it's a question we have as well.
And we'll continue to follow up with, again, DCS and Chat Prep for those answers.
That's right.
Latricia,